What's going on, family? Maurice Bay, the helpful trucker here. Early in the morning, 7:20, getting loaded up. Been riding for a couple of hours this morning already. Takes me 2 hours, two hours and 15 minutes to get to where I pick up from. So I'm out here right now. Nobody's in line. They load me. I'm getting loaded with this stuff right here, hardwood chips, and up there is the dock. So in a little while, Lupe is gonna come up there, and he's gonna start dumping in chips to the top of the trailer. So just wanted to come on and do a brief video to kind of talk about do I think it was the right decision, or how I feel about just becoming a new owner operator. I just completed my first full week as a new owner operator, and I've been doing videos every day, every evening, to kind of let you know how the journey is coming along. This video is more or less for just for anyone in general looking to become an owner operator that may not be following my content right now. This video is basically for you guys. So pretty much anyone that's not following my content, that's not a subscriber. So I'm gonna talk briefly about that, how I feel about the decision that I just made to become an owner operator. Again, I just completed my first week, and just to give you a little bit of understanding, a little bit of backdrop about my situation. I was driving a truck for my dad. Actually, my dad was the owner of the truck, and I bought the same truck that I was driving from my dad just a few weeks ago. I was driving for my dad for the past 5 years before then. Okay, I got my CDL back in 2016. I went to Shipper's Choice down in Chester, Virginia. Started in February 2016, went on the weekends for 2 months, and then got my CDL April 2016, and started driving for my pop right after that, and was driving for him up until April the 1st, started driving for myself. So answer the question, let me get right to it, because that's how I like to do in my videos. Do I think it was a good decision? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm totally cool with how things have been going down since April the 1st, and I'm gonna share a couple of reasons why with you, because maybe this will give you something to start preparing for if you're planning on going out as an owner operator. Okay, so the first thing is, I am extremely grateful that my dad chose to sell me the truck that I was already driving. Okay, so the truck, I'm driving the same truck right now as an owner that I was already driving for my dad, because I bought the same truck. And the reason I think that's important, that's relevant, is because I'm comfortable with the truck. Okay, so if you're looking at becoming an owner operator, obviously you're gonna have to buy your own truck. But a lot of people become an owner operator and get into the profession, and they end up buying a truck, or start off by buying a truck that they may not be very familiar with. So if I was, based on hindsight right now, if I'm buying a truck, I would want to be buying it from somebody that I know. I would want to be buying a truck that is already running, that is already on the road. If I'm gonna be buying a truck from any source, anywhere other than that, I would most certainly want to have maintenance records and all of that good stuff, so that I can understand what was going on, what was happening with the truck. I didn't get maintenance records on this truck, of course, but like I said, I've been driving the truck for the last 5 years. There were a few other owner operators that I was asking about buying trucks from as well, and most of them didn't have their maintenance records, not the ones that I was talking to, but these were all individuals that I was familiar with. They were also doing jobs with their truck, work with their truck, that I was also familiar with as well. So, I mean, thinking back in hindsight, I would have considered, had I not had the opportunity to buy this truck that I'm driving, that I was already driving, I would have considered buying a truck from another owner operator that I knew that was, doing something that I'm familiar with the truck. I would have went that way as well. I would have been really, really leery about getting a truck, again, from any source other than that I wasn't able to get maintenance records for, okay? And just to throw it out there, the truck that I bought wasn't much money as well. So we're not talking $40 or $50 or $60,000 or anything. Again, I mean, if you're looking at spending that much money for a truck, I would say it's absolutely imperative I would feel so uncomfortable spending that much money on something that I don't know about the truck, right? So what I spent on this truck, which was 10 grand, and I'm familiar with the truck, okay? So that's one thing that I'm really, really grateful about as far as how I went out as an owner-operator. The second thing that I'm really, really grateful for, and I think was good, it makes the transition smoother for an individual, is I was already working the job. I was already doing the work as a driver for my dad that I'm doing right now as the owner of the truck. So the truck didn't switch jobs and I didn't switch trucks. I'm driving the same truck, but I'm also doing the same job that I was already doing for my dad in this truck. That I was fortunate that way, okay? My dad didn't necessarily give me the job. He didn't have anyone, make a long story short, he didn't have a driver in place to put on the truck that I was driving. So had I gotten out of his truck and gotten my own truck from another source, then he would have had a truck sitting until he would have found a driver. And he's been looking for a driver for the last few months now, because I let him know I wanted to go out on my own several months ago. So I'm extremely grateful that it happened that way for me, because I'm already familiar with the work, right? So I'm already familiar with how they dispatch, what they do. None of that is new to me. So if you're just becoming an owner operator, this is not an issue, but I mean, if you're just getting in and you're buying a truck that you're not familiar with, and then you're putting it on a job that you're not familiar with, obviously you could still make money. Plenty of people get started that way. I would say that's probably the traditional route. Most people that go owner operator are probably not going to be fortunate enough to buy the truck that they were driving, and maybe they will be. And I would assume that there's a large portion of people that's probably not going to be in the position to do the same job as well. Here comes Lupe right here, 90 miles an hour in the damn bulldozer. He about to load me up there right now. But I mean, if you are in that position, again, it's gonna make the transition that much smoother. It did for me. I was already doing the work, so nothing had to change with the work, and nothing had to change with the truck that I was in as well. And the third thing that happened for me that I'm extremely grateful for now is the way that me and my dad was already doing business, okay? So my dad doesn't drive a truck anymore, okay? His health won't allow him to. He still wants to get out and drive, but his health won't allow him to. So anytime, as a driver for my dad, anytime something needed to be done on this truck as far as maintenance or going to the shop or anything like that, I was the only one that was driving the truck. So whenever something needed to be done, I was the one that had to call the shop, had to make arrangements to get the truck in the shop, get the truck back out of the shop, go and pick up a part maybe for the truck while the truck was in the shop, arrange for a ride for myself to get picked up and dropped back off at the shop. Essentially what I'm saying is the actions that an owner operator has to take, as opposed to the actions that just a typical company driver would take. I've already been broken into the habit of having to do those actions. So typically a company driver may be inclined to just park the truck at the end of the week or at the end of the night and just go home, or just go in the house. I was already not doing that, and that was primarily because of how me and my dad was have been set up. I was already in the position to be affected if the truck was down. It's not like I was gonna still be getting paid if the truck was down. A lot of times company drivers may be in a position where they're still getting paid, or if you're driving for somebody else, you might still be getting paid if the truck is down. I've already been used to those things not happening. I've actually been telling my dad for the last few years, I'm like, Pop, I'm in a very unique spot. I work for you, so I'm an employee, but I'm not a typical, excuse me, every time I get on camera, I get the sneezing. But I'm not a typical employee, which means I don't get to partake in the benefits of being a typical employee. Like all of the stuff that being an employee, I've been 1099. So, you know, so that's not an issue on one side, but, you know, on the other side, like I'm not the owner. So the owner is a 1099 as well, but he's getting all of the profits. He's getting paid to be the owner. And there's benefits to being the employee, because there's all kinds of stuff that typical employees can participate in. Well, because I wasn't a typical employee over the last 5 years, I wasn't able to participate in all of the benefits of being a typical employee. And because I was not the owner, I also wasn't able to get the benefit, the full benefit of being 1099 as well, because I wasn't the owner. I was like, Pop, I'm in a real sweet spot right here, right? I don't get the full benefit of being an employee, and I don't get the full benefit of being the owner as well. Essentially what I'm saying with that is I've already gotten used to acting like the owner of the truck, especially when it comes to having to get the truck in the shop. And again, you know, when I go home in the evening, making sure I take time to check the truck out to make sure I'm ready to go the next day. I've already kind of been doing those things. So the transition that a lot of people will have to make when they become an owner operator, a lot of those things I've kind of already gotten used to. What's up, my man? A lot of those things I've already gotten used to doing. I've already gotten used to how those things work. So do I believe that it was a good decision? Am I enjoying this journey so far of becoming a new owner operator? Absolutely. I was looking at my pay sheet this past week as I did it. This past week wasn't really a complete week for me. It was really like a 4-day work week for me. And so my check was shorter than I wanted it to be. But I'm totally okay with that. My bills personally are low. And I'm not one to have to spend a whole lot of money personally anyway. So, you know, the way I get paid is actually still the same as it was under my dad. I was getting paid 1/3 of what my truck grosses under my dad. And right now, I've actually reduced my pay from 1/3 to 30%. So I'm actually making less as a driver for myself than I was for my dad. But, you know, my personal life doesn't cost me very much. I don't live to the hilt, so if I do have a slow week, it's not an issue, and I'm in control, right? I had some things that happened last week. No big deal. That happens every now and then. It's been happening for the last 4 or 5 years as a driver. So what I do like about being an owner operator is being in control. Okay, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was letting me know that he was like, man, I ran a load from Chesterfield to Quinton. He was in Quinton when he was talking to me, and Quinton is right down the street from where I live. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm over in Quinton right now. I'm like, where you pick that load up from? Like Chesterfield. Like, how much are you making on that load, if you don't mind me asking? He's like, $750. I'm like, man, that's good money right there, because if you're not familiar with the area, Chesterfield to Quinton is, I don't know, 30 miles, something like that, 40 miles, something like that. And right, as the owner of my own truck, I don't have my own MC, my own DOT number yet. I don't have that, but I'm going to be getting it. It's definitely going to come, because, you know, going that way is going to give me even more freedom, more control over what I can do out here on the road. So absolutely, definitely glad I made the decision. And I'll see you guys later on this evening. I'll be doing a video just to update you and let you know how the day went. I'm getting loaded right now. Lupe is up there. He's balling out. My man don't take very long to load at all. So I'm almost done, actually, getting loaded. It's Maurice Beta, Helpful Trucker. I'll see you guys. If you want to follow along with the content, I'm uploading a video every day, sharing with who's ever interested what it's like to become a new owner-operator. So subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along with that. I'll see you guys on the next video. Hope you got value from it. If you did, be sure to smash the like button.